What is up, guys? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video. In today's video, we got meta.deck. We got Kashtira. I've been wanting to bring this deck profile to you guys for a while, but it took me a long time to get the cards. Working on a lot of decks and crap like that, and doing a bunch of other stuff, and not being able to have access to the cards. Some of them were really pricey, which leads me to my next thing. I want to shout out to basically the entire team. Jeremy, Tanner, Eric, everybody. Everybody played a giant role in helping me get this deck. I don't want to go into too much detail about why I couldn't get it, but it is what it is. But yeah, I appreciate all the help that everybody did. Jeremy, everybody. Jeremy, basically this deck is like 75% Jeremy's. He paid for literally 75% of it because he's always the dog. He always wants to help me play the stuff that I want to play and help bring you guys the content that you all want to see. But besides all my teammates and all my best friends helping me get this deck, this is what I've been playing competitively since tier got nerfed, and I can no longer shed a tier, pun intended, because I miss that deck so much. But I had to move on to something else, and I didn't really want to play anything else besides maybe Shadal's and Galaxy Eyes, of course. But if I'm going to play competitively, I want to play something else. So I played Kashtira. A lot of it's pretty straightforward, like very similar to other people's lists. There's just some things I've changed and I did my own way. One thing I will say is this version is pure, but I'm going to be making I have an adventure list. I'm just going to be making that on a separate video, obviously. So there's going to be an adventure list. Both have their pros and cons. I think longevity wise, I feel like the adventure engine is like better. That's just me though. But being able to this version pure can play a lot of non-engine and go second cards. So. But before we get into this video, guys, if you don't mind, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button, become part of the channel. Literally, like 75% of you guys are returning members and are not subscribed, so please help me out and hit that subscribe button and work our way to 2,000. I know right now, at the time I was recording, we're at like 1,385, but it's not really close to 2,000, but I want to get to that 2,000 mark before the end of the summer. I really want to hit that mile mark before then. Check out the description for all the ways to support me. PayPal, Twitter, Patreon, Discord, everything you name it is down there. Ways to support me and get closer to me and get more of my input. The Patreon has a lot of cool things if you want to go and read about it. If you really like my outlook on this game and stuff like that, and you want, whether it's tutoring or help, if I can't find the answer, I can find the answer for you really easily. Yeah, check all that stuff down there below. Let's go ahead and get into this. I won't keep you waiting any longer. Not much explanation needs to be made. Like I said, it's all standard. Three unicorn, 3 ultra Fenrir because I can't pull an ulti to save my life, and obviously, I don't have the bread for it. But yeah, three Fenrir, 3 unicorn. 2 Rise Heart. I feel like people who, I mean, no offense to who does, but I feel like maining 3 Rise Heart and then definitely the Rhoda is just a waste of slots. Like, this is really only like good if you have another name where you have Birth or something. So he doesn't really do nothing for you, really. 1 Scareclaw, 1 Ogre. These 2 are mandatory. Definitely, I mean, both of them put in their own work against certain archetypes. Like, Ogre puts in a lot of work against, like, control mashups, because they do a lot less searching, so you manipulating their draws is, like, huge. Definitely in a simplified game state. And then, Scareclaw Kashtira, sometimes I want to run 2, but I've been fine with 1, because, like, in the grind game, you definitely want a second one, but for some odd reason, I mean, it's just the way modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes. Duels don't really last that long anymore, and if they do, then it just basically comes down to old vintage Yu-Gi-Oh! Resource management, who's managed their resources better, if that makes sense. The reason why is because this being able to pair with preparations and being able to loop your Rise Heart is key, because the moral of the story of this deck, a lot of people who don't play Kashtira think the deck is all about locking zones. It's not. It's actually protect a Rise Heart in the extra deck and win from that, basically. So That's why. But yeah, that's it for the cash monster lineup. 3 planet, 1 terraforming. This is mandatory. This is absolutely mandatory. Makes sense. The buff that comes from planet is actually really nasty. It comes up a lot. Helped me out of Dragoon when Dragoon was like 4K one time. It was insane. Granted, I was also running the Adventure Engine on that list too, because the Adventure Engine providing you with water. Granted, Ogre is water, but I didn't have access to Ogre at that point. So, but yeah, Planet is nasty. Sadly, it's not as good as Perlerino, but we'll take it. 3 Birth, absolutely mandatory. 3 Theosis, absolutely mandatory, because this deck bricks. Even though if I were to cut down on one, it would be Theosis. Spoiler alert, in my Adventure version, I only run 2 Theosis. Because Theosis is only good if you see a name, and I know on paper this deck might seem like it's very consistent, but if you're still new to Kashtira, this deck is not very consistent. So, and it has nothing to do with running too many spells or anything like that, except for maybe Theosis, because Theosis is only good with another name, like a monster name. But Birth is, in my opinion, always good, whether you see a name or not, because it, like, besides protecting your Arise Heart, it comes down to protecting Birth. Birth and Arise Heart, if you can't protect them or constantly have another Birth in hand or another Arise Heart to summon, you're going to lose those duels 10 out of 10. So, like, sometimes when I go combo, if I'm playing the conservative combo, which I like to do a lot anyways, I'll go, instead of like going the ape monkey way of playing the combo, is banishing Big Bang and doing all that dumb shit. I will go and I will use after I've used Theosis, if I already have Birth in hand, I will go Arise Heart, banish Birth from the deck, then use a Scareclaw to banish the Theosis to add back Birth, so I have another one. Because once people know that, like, even if they don't really know Cash very much and they're playing against Cash, the number one thing they're going to think of is, they're like, alright, the number one way of cracking their board, whether they have monsters or not, is get rid of the Birth. So once they get rid of the Birth, they're like, all right, I should have no problem, because once they get rid of the Birth, they overforce the simplified game state, whether they have monsters on board or not. The reason why is because they know they have no real recursion, and they have no real way to put monsters on board after dealing with Shangira. So, like, it's one of those things where, like, Shangira is easier to deal with than Birth, so, like, once they out the Birth, that's what they think. So I want to constantly make them burn their resources. They out this card, and then have another one in hand too, so it never hurts. Even if I draw both, like, moral of the story, if I draw both and I still go Unicorn, I have Unicorn in hand, I'll always search a second Birth, not another Theosis. But yeah, another thing I wanted to mention too about, I know a lot of y'all probably asking why I know Kashtira Tearlaments. I mean, the only thing that really is nice about that card is the fact that it's basically it's an extender, and it can banish cards to be able to add cards back, basically, or banish cards from the graveyard to be able to summon back off preparations. Other than that, there's no real reason to run it, and at that point, I would just run a second Scareclaw, to be honest. Preparation of Big Bang. This card is absolutely disgusting against trap decks. It's really nasty. Definitely against Trap Tricks. You can argue it's very good against Labyrinth, but it's better against Trap Tricks, because reason why is because Trap Tricks hold more cards in their hand than Labyrinth does. Labyrinth just basically sets everything, and on top of that, I mean, granted, they both set stuff from deck and search stuff, but when it comes to holding cards in hand, Trap Tricks holds cards in their hand more. And I mean, Big Bang is just good against anything, because basically when you do the conservative combo, when you just end on a Rise Heart and you have Big Bang, this is absolutely nasty, because their number one priority, they're not going to really be paying attention to back row, because they want to be able to out your Macrocosmos, basically, in a Rise Heart. So if they when they're overplaying to trying to get into enough utility to be able to out him, you can just flip this at a crucial time, and basically forces them to wipe their whole board and play under it. A lot of people I've seen will shotgun this, and before they get to the crit point, and I know it's hard to not know everyone's crit point. That's fine. I'm just saying, I guess that's where it's just beneficial to know your matchups, basically. But yeah, Big Bang is absolutely nasty, whether it's from its basic pseudo evenly matched effect, or the banished of summon something back off of an Kashtira XE. Now for the hand traps slash board breakers. 3 Lava Golem. Lava Golem is nasty, whether it's the mirror or not. Granted, you can argue with me talking about the conservative combo and the mirror. This will always be dead, but against branded, against trap tricks, against anything, and all the rogue matchups, this card just freaking goes burr. On top of that, it's a 2-for-1 because definitely in a game 3 situation, if you're comboing off and you're going first, and you know you won't be able to, like push for game because you're not going to get a battle phase, but you still went combo or whatever the situation is. Like in a game 3 situation, if you're going second basically, and you know you can't push for game because their board's too big, you can always summon this when you're going second. Summon this on their noggin and then combo off, not stall. Don't be a freaking douchebag. And stall, but try to combo off after dropping this on your opponent's noggin, and then when it comes back to your opponent's turn. Sorry about that, guys. My phone ran out of memory, so I had to go back, and this is the second time. Take 2. Alright, so we got 3 Lava Golem. The go second slash cards, whatever, hand traps, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Book, 3 Lance. All these are really good. This is the reason why I decided to run Pure this week, because my locals was like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy on some of the decks, so I wanted to have versatility. Thing with Lava Golem, I choose Lava Golem over Nib because Nib is dog shit and always draw it for the 6th draw. This card is disgusting. You can argue with your opponent going, if you're playing against the mirror, this is not that good because if they go the conservative combo, you have a dead card. I mean, yeah, sure, but if they're going the conservative combo, then they're not going to play the Nib either, so it doesn't matter. This card's really good going into time, obviously, because they can burn if you time it right and not be a douchebag and slow play. Ash is just an FTK, gets branded, and it's just very good. It trades more than 1-for-1 like it did the past previous formats. So, Imperm, these 6 right here, whether it be Lava Golem or Imperm, one of these slots of 3 can be arguably be evenly, but I decided to run Imperm for the more versatility of being able to negate stuff. So, I opted to go that route. But I wouldn't judge you if you had either one of these to be evenly. But if you make the Lava Golem evenly, then I would probably still side Lava Golem in my personal opinion. Book of Moon, because it's just very good. I don't have a problem running Book of Moon in this deck because we can easily make Zeus. But in other decks that struggle to make Zeus, I don't recommend running Book of Eclipse. Sorry, not Book of Moon. I would probably run Book of Moon instead of Book of Eclipse in other decks that can't make Zeus, because allowing your opponent to plus off of this card during the end phase is just, you're basically killing yourself at that point. So that's it. I don't care about this deck runner because I can easily make I can make Zeus and clear it. But Forbidden Lance is the MVP of this entire, like, all these cards though, because in your control matchup, this card is absolutely crucial. It's disgusting, and it's disgusting. In a Labyrinth matchup, this card will carry you all day, definitely until you get to your side deck. And Trap Tricks is still very good too. Making sure your shit can't be targeted, booked, all that stuff. So it's very nice in that regard. Popped, whatever. This card is absolutely mandatory. Definitely for the 5 heads who shotgun their imperms before you even activate an effect, or if you do activate the effect, they just get scared and shotgun the imperm. So Forbidden Lance is very nice. I will not deck build without this card when it comes to this deck, for this deck in particular, because even though this deck looks like it's very consistent, it's not. Kashtira is not that. It's consistent when you see the names, but if you don't see the names, then it's not consistent. Last 3 cards are Prosperity. This deck cannot be played without it. You absolutely have to have this card. I'm going to test out Jesse's idea on running, Jesse Cotton's idea on running Desires with this. I think that's very interesting, and I kind of like that, to be honest, because you have 3, if you think about it, you have 3 of everything. So the only time it would hurt is if you banished one of these, or you banished both Arise Hearts. That would really suck. But normally at that point, you're only going to be using Desires if you have no other option and you got hand trapped to death, or you have already deck thinned to where it doesn't matter and you're just plussing at that point to draw hand traps or whatever else you may need. So it's an interesting thought. I just, if I do, there will become a 42 card list, which is not that bad, definitely with Prosperity and Desires, but I want to keep it a clean 40. 40 cards. Onto the extra deck. Lingaribo only 1. Infinity Track, just to equip the Rise Heart. Donner, and the FTK against Labyrinth if they don't have Skill Drain. All these are pretty standard. You all know what they do. The Blackluster Soldier, in my personal opinion, is mandatory because if you get, if they call XZs on D-Barrier, yeah, it's still you applying a lot of pressure by leaving your names on board because they're still interruptions in their own right. But making this is absolutely can be detrimental against other decks. Like if you're playing against Labyrinth and they don't have Skill Drain, this card they have no way to out it. They have no real way to out it. I'm not too keen in on what if Trap Tricks could, because I know that deck, but I don't know it as well as I do Labyrinth, because I've been studying Labyrinth more than I have Trap Tricks, because I know when I go to bigger events I'm going to be playing against more Labyrinth than I probably will Trap Tricks, even though now that I say this I'm probably going to be playing nothing but Trap Tricks, but it's whatever. But this card is really nasty, being able to be, it's non-targetable, can't be destroyed by card effects. So, and it can just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then attack twice. Not to mention, even if they have Skill Drain, you still have Forbidden Lance, which is nice too, to protect yourself from the Skill Drain and play through it, basically. So, and not to mention, a lot of 5-heads, when they activate D-Barrier, they'll hold their hand traps, so they can save them because they think you can't get nowhere with after under D-Barrier. So you just make this, and then it's too late at that point. So. Yeah, BLS is nasty. That's it for the links. XZs, I got them all backwards. Sorry from having to record this a second time. 2 Shangira, you don't need 3. 2 Rise Heart, which will probably be 3 Rise Heart. I'm gonna be taking out a card in my extra deck probably for it. Because in the mirror match, if they rip one and you're only left with one, it's really hard to resource management with that, and definitely with only one Scareclaw Kashtira, because the Scareclaw Kashtira is how you summon this back, basically, because you have to use Scareclaw to banish this to summon it back with preparations, because Birth can't summon it back. So yeah, I'm probably going to run 3, because if you're running 3, you're logically only going to be summoning 2. 3 won't come up against nothing but the mirror, but yeah, I'm still want to run 3. 2 Zeus, mandatory. 1 Diabolus. 1 number 11, Big Eye. And then 1 Red Eyes, Flare Metal. Flare Metal is probably going to be the card that I cut for the 3rd Big Eye. I mean, not 3rd Big Eye, Jesus Christ. The 3rd Arise Heart. Because in theory, this is very good. But I feel like in a lot of today's decks, even if you just summon this and gets nothing else on your opponent, they just go Book of a Moon or Book of Eclipse, because they don't care about drawing during the end phase, because if it's going into a game 3 in time situation, they'll burn for that 1 card, but they're going to get enough cards on board to out this and then kill you. So there's no real situation for this to come up. I was really trying to find a way to run Dragoon in this and be able to revive Red Eyes as a free extender, but I can't find no real way to play Dragoon. Rest in peace, Verte. But yeah. And then the last 2 cards in the deck. This is really the Dark Arm Dragon Annihilation. Ignore this. Don't run this card. Run Annihilation. Annihilation is mandatory in this deck because the utility you get from it, like if you're in a simplified game state and you can summon just that, and they've negated all your other stuff, and you can summon that, and you have like a Birth and a Theosis in graveyard, you just go banish Birth, pop a card, banish Theosis, add back the Birth from the banish pile, and now you're lit. You're set up while popping cards, so you get to add follow-up and add extension by just breaking your opponent's board, since Annihilation's not a hard once per turn, not even a once per turn. It's just nasty. And then the Baron's in here because if they hand trap you to death and you didn't open very well, and you open like a bunch of hand traps like double Ash and like hand trapping a name, and they impermed or ashed your name or whatever, you can just make this, and it's still an interruption, negate, and it can bring back your stuff during the standby phase to be able to help get back into your engine, and allows you to play through a D barrier if for some odd reason you can't get to a Blackluster Soldier. So it's a very good card, and I'm trying to play around my opponent's interruption / blowout cards against this deck. So, and like Baron's been very good. Like I have yet to be debarriered to where it like actually just stops my line of play, because I've run things like Baron and I run things like Blackluster Soldier. So yeah. But that's it for the extra deck. Make sure we're all still recording here. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. Onto the side deck. Side deck is just mainly locals, but it's a lot of this is kind of standard if you were to go to bigger events. 3 Bell. I run 3 Bell because I'm terrified of the Gimmick Puppet lock. And if you don't see Ash, basically, against Branded, you just lose. So having Ash, Imperm, and Bell, basically, against that matchup is really nice. Because if you don't see nothing else but Bell, you can just use this when they go Expulsion and just says no. So that's why. 3 Bell for that. 3 Shifter. I was iffy about this card, but like, bruh. At least at my locals, like this card put in work. Definitely against Rogue, this card put in work. Every time I use it, even online though, like it's pretty nasty. Because if you go like you start off with like Unicorn, and then you use this, and they ash you or whatever. You rip out a Lebellion. You go combo. Use Mind Hacker to rip out another Lebellion. And as long as you can lock them under this and a Rise Heart, or this or a Rise Heart, and you already ripped out both Lebellions, they went super neg, and now they can't really play because they're not going to have a graveyard to be able to banish stuff with their Albions. So this card with it basically it means we can having a Rise Heart on turn 0 is really nice. Definitely gets branded. Yeah, because now they have no real way to play, and they're playing from behind, and it's just hard for them at that point to deal with a Rise Heart unless they have Kaijus or main deck Kaijus or Book of the Moons and stuff. But that's another reason why we run Forbidden Lance. 2 Evenly, 2 D-Barrier, 1 Appointer, 2 Thrust, 1 and 1. I run 2 of everything because it allows me to trim down my side deck while a Thrust open up room for my side deck. Thrust is terrible going first unless you're going to set like an Imperm or something, but that's not very logical. But running 2 of everything is not bad because we have Prosperity to dig for it. And then we have Thrust too. So like, there's nothing really bad about it because this is basically 2 copies of everything. Storm's only really good to resolve once because after that you're going to have stuff on board, so it don't really matter. Duster's cracked. Like one time I used Thrust against Striker and then searched Duster, and we lit, bro. A Pointer is disgusting. One thing I will say about my side deck though is before I go to like in a big event, like I don't know why no one runs that card. I don't really know what I would cut. Probably maybe the Shifters. I don't know because like only against Rogue is Shifter really good. But I want to run Light Force Sword because, bruh, let me tell you, Light Force Sword paired with Red Lotus, and it might sound situational as hell, but Light Force Sword paired with Red Lotus plus your board is absolutely disgusting because you go your opponent's draw phase. Any priorities in draw phase? No? Okay, cool. A Pointer. Show you my hand, rip out the card that was going to destroy my board. Okay, now that I know what they got in their hand, then I go Light Force Sword, Chain Light Force Sword, rip another one. Granted, I don't get to look, it's at random, but they start out with 4 cards, and I know what cards are in their hand, and I ripped out the most important ones so they can't really play. And even if they hand trap me, then they start with 3 cards. So it's really nasty. So if they hand trap me and I still went full combo, which if they hand trap me, then that's why they hand trap me like Ash, Thrust, go get the one you don't have, whether it's this or Light Force Sword. Set, end on a Rise Heart. A Rise Heart with this plus Light Force Sword is you probably not losing that game unless they draw the book, and if they draw the book and didn't use it during draw phase, then it's too damn late, bro, because I'm about to Pointer it. So, but yeah, nah. I really want to run Light Force Sword because Light Force Sword being able to proc your the trigger effect of like your Mind Hacker and your Shingear is just too good not to play. Even if you don't go that route, it's still good because you're hand ripping for 2. So, but that's it for the side deck, main deck, extra deck, everything. I love how the deck performed. I really am liking Pure, but one thing I will say, if you're running Pure, then play more conservatively. Like, don't be going for the zone lock. You're just going to punish yourself at the end of the day. Definitely considering you're going to burn all your resources turn 1, and this deck needs all the resources it can get. But I am going to be profiling an adventure version, which is really nice to play more aggressive with. You just can't main as many go second cards, if that makes sense. So, which kind of sucks in the long run. But the utility against control decks is really nice because in that list I do main the Illegal Knight, which is really nice, continuously setting trap decks up back a turn during the end phase by using that to bounce the back row back to their hand. Then just using the Draco back to bounce the Illegal Knight. But yeah, I will be profiling that one probably soon. But that is it for the deck profile, guys. Be on the lookout for that video and a couple of other videos. I have like 3 other videos lined up. One of them being a new entry-level video for people who are coming back to the game or new to the game. I have been on a binge like here lately, but I'm making a couple of videos and pouring my brain out what I like and what my outlook is on helping people, in my opinions, and helping people that are new to the game or coming back to the game and kind of forgot some stuff. Because that's my whole point of making videos and have this channel. I love helping you all, and I want to make you all the best duelists that you can be. So, with the knowledge that I have. But with that being said, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new here, hit the notification bell. Like I said before, it's like a lot of you guys are returning members and are not subscribing. It really makes me sad. I'm not even kidding about that. But I love you guys so much. Check the description for all the ways to support me. Patreon, Discord, Twitter, PayPal, TikTok. Everything's down there in the description. TikTok might not be down there yet, but it's the same as my username here. Team DDD, team dash DDD, team dash space DDD, triple D's. But same on Twitter and everything else. So go follow your boy on there, show some love, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. It's your boy Drip, signing out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.